Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday evening, January the 23rd, 2022. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. We made it through another week. I'd like to welcome everyone to the show tonight. This will be my weekly update that I'll be putting on YouTube. We're going to go over methane and sea ice and Climate Reanalyzer and earthquakes, and that's about it. So I didn't do my regular Sunday update last Sunday because I wasn't feeling well, but my show that I did on Monday, I covered methane for the week before and then went over what I saw on the Tonga volcano. Now, before we get started, I'll go ahead and show you. It hasn't gone off anymore this week, and Volcano Discovery has a bunch of updates. The sulfur dioxide cloud has moved west. Well, there's more stuff in it besides sulfur dioxide, but the cloud from the big blowout, well, there were two big ones, maybe three, I don't know, but the one we know for sure. Anyway, it's moved west, and here's Australia. It went over the northern part of Australia and over Indonesia, and now it's spread out and moved west and headed towards Africa. So it's gone all the way across the Indian Ocean, and they've put up a lot of different follow-up things, where the shock wave reached the antipode in Algeria, the ash cloud seen from outer space. Let's see, the top plume may have reached 55 kilometers altitude, and let's see, video of the shock waves. And then they have pictures of the aftermath on Tonga. Why do they put these at? They have to put those ads up right when I'm trying to do the show. This was the island just to the south of where it blew up, and anyway, they have a picture gallery. Here's ash. It just covered the whole area. Let's see, here's where the sulfur dioxide plume was going over the Indian Ocean, and they said this was from Wednesday, when they were evaluating it, said that the eruption was equivalent to 10 megaton bomb going off. And there's another picture of it. Here's where the island where the volcano was, and where it disappeared. And the thing about that island, it originally was two pieces, and then as eruptions happened, it built up a bridge between the two islands, and it wasn't. It was like gravel. It wasn't like from a hard bedrock. So when they say the island blew up, well, they were pretty amazed that that shelf that had connected the two islands, that had hung around as long as it had. So, oh, and here the underwater cable is cut off, so Tonga's without communication for some weeks. So, anyway. And then, there are lots of other reports out there. Robin Westenra has been gathering some things, alternative things about, what it could have been, what could have caused it to look so different and act so different from the other volcanoes we've been seeing going off. So go to his blog and you can check that out. It's seymourrocks.is. So let's get started with methane. Now I've got 2 days worth of Noaa methane that I need to show. So we'll start with that. Here we are for the 21st, which was Friday. This is for the 477/469 millibar reading. This is for the MET-OP1, aka MET-OP-B satellite in the morning. The mean or average was 1913 parts per billion. The high reading was 2384. Now see, we've got some pinks come here over the Indian Ocean. I'm thinking that's in that cloud that's coming across from the Tonga explosion. So, when a volcano blows, a lot of stuff comes out. Sulfur dioxide is a big one, and that's one way we can see evidence of something blowing. Also, methane comes out, carbon dioxide, water vapor, a whole bunch of things. So it's a toxic soup, and so when there's a bunch of ash in it too, so when it rains and that stuff starts coming down, you don't want to be under that. You just don't. And then in the afternoon, the mean was 1912. The high reading was 2445. And then for the 22nd, which was yesterday, Saturday, we're back to the morning reading of 1912. The high reading of 2530, so that's gone up a little bit. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1910. The high reading was 2501. Here's the spreadsheet and chart that we're looking at where I've been tracking this. So for the 22nd, that averages out to be 1911 parts per billion. That's showing a slight decrease overall for the week of 0.5. And so here we see the blue line kind of straightening out there. And so we're still 22 parts per billion higher than we were a year ago, and we're 41.5 parts per billion higher than March the 1st of 2019 when I started tracking all this. And now I'll show you what happened during the week. So up here, this is so last Saturday, the 15th, was at 1911.5, and see it had gone up. We'll go up a little bit. It had gone up that day 2.5. Then Sunday, it went up another 1.5. Monday it went down 1.0. Tuesday it went up 1.0. Wednesday it went down 1.5. Thursday it went up 0.5. Friday up 0.5. And Saturday down 1.5, giving us an overall decrease for the week of 0.5. Now at one point here on the 20th, see, highlight this line, we were 26.5 parts per billion higher than a year ago. We were at 1912 at that point. Now, have we bottomed out? I really think we have. It would have been the lowest reading we've had so far this winter season is here on the 14th at 1909. That's the lowest so far. And then it's just been kind of hovering around the 1911, 1912, 1913. It's just been going back and forth. So I think we've hit the bottom, but I don't know yet. It's too soon for me to say, yeah, the bottom was on the 14th at 1909. So we'll just keep tracking it, and I'll keep reporting on it. Now we'll look at cams. I have Saturday the 22nd, Arctic view and surface level pulled up. This is from Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service. This is out of the EU. Here's our color ledger at the bottom. The data is for Saturday, and the forecast period runs Sunday through Wednesday. Now we'll talk about all of this billowing going on in a second, but overall, see the greens coming in. Instead of it just being solid yellow or orange across the Arctic, we've got greens coming in now, which is a lower reading. So that's a sign that methane is going down or has gone down overall. Now we still have this out of control billowing around Komsomolets here, and then another area here in the North Kara Sea. That's just not stopping, and it's also, we're seeing it coming up independently here in the Laptev Sea in the forecast period. Now watch, see, it's popping up there and here. Now we also saw this week, and for about the last week and a half, the ice pulling away from the coastlines in the Laptev Sea, and ice kind of breaking up. Now, I had my own theory about that, and I've talked about that on some videos on my Subscribestar channel. And if you'd like to support my work for $5 a month, you can become a member over there, and I do daily posts, and I do videos throughout the week, not every single day, but I keep up with the methane, and I do a midweek update showing the sea ice, and I talk more candidly and more openly on those videos than I do for the ones that I put up on YouTube. And I talk more about my theories over there. And we'd love to have you over there. And you'll find the link in the description box below. So there's that. Now we'll hop to the North Pole view. Here we're able to get a bird's eye view of the whole northern hemisphere, pretty much. We're still seeing, like from Spain and Portugal and Europe, is still heavy in methane. It's not a solid black area like we've seen. Now here it's picking up here in the Persian Gulf. Now watch in the forecast period, you'll see it filling in and see how it spills over into Saudi Arabia, all around there. And then India is lightening up. These are all signs where you see it kind of lightening up, all signs of lower methane overall. Here's China. And look at how Korea is filled up. And China is still, it releases these waves that move out. See the dark wave there. And we're still seeing high releases across parts of Russia as well. Then over here in North America, see from Texas over east, it's looking pretty dense with methane, solid. And especially see in the forecast period there in the middle. California is still covered up all the way down and streaming out in the Pacific. Then this area in North Dakota, right on the Canada coastline, there's a lignite coal mine there that I tracked down was the source of that methane. Okay, now we'll zoom down to the Antarctic. Here we'll show the color ledger. Now, so the background color overall now has come down to this 1820 parts per billion, and we'll see just a little bit of navy blue swirling through. That's 1800, like here. And since the background color has come down, or the readings have come down, we're able to see the isolated areas where methane is coming up around the coastlines here in the Antarctic in this aqua color of 1840. Right here, this is the Larsen B ice shelf on the western peninsula. It's all really all the way down from the tippy point all the way down that peninsula to from Larsen A, B, and C. Then here, a lot coming up all around the Brunt ice shelf and coming up to the north. Also here on the north side, you see it popping up. And here, this is the Amory ice shelf. It's coming up looks like from the ice shelf itself. I'm thinking that could be, I don't know if it's from algae on the ice or if methane's just coming up from underneath. I don't know. And a little keeps popping up here on this east side. A couple of places you can see it pop up. And where else? Oh, down here on this little elbow. This is now Pine Island Glacier is right up here. Thwaites Glacier is just further down. So this is right on that elbow, just next to that the ice that goes up to Pine Island Glacier. And as things heat up, I expect to see more and more evidence of methane coming up, and in the Antarctic, and also in different colors, higher readings of the methane. Now we'll go through the global view. We can see this white spot still popping up here near Beijing in China, most polluted area in the world. That's above the 10,000 parts per billion. You can see it filling up in South America. Let's see. So we are in no man's land. I say this in pretty much every show. These are levels that we haven't seen. We're higher than what's been recorded before. So, because you saw from the chart, it just keeps going up all the time, year after year. And then when it goes down, when it gets past the seasonal going up, then in the seasonal where it goes down, it doesn't go down to the beginning of where it was the season before. See, this was let's see, where were we? This was the low here last year, and it hit the low, I think, January 12th of 2021. And see, it went up and then back down, and then started on its overall move up. So that's a big difference. See, there's no way we're going to go back down to where this was, or here, or at the beginning even. No way. Okay, this is at 500 HPA, and you see all the dark, that's the highest readings gathered over the Arctic and in the colder regions. Now we're seeing less of that dark, so seeing more of the lighter red, kind of orangish color coming through, red-orange. So that's another sign of methane going down overall. Now here's total column, and we can see China's the heaviest, India all the way across this northern edge. Here in the Philippines is a heavy spot, and then lots of reds. Okay, now I'm going to go over these pictures from today. Here's sulfur dioxide. This is the global view from CAMS, and so here's where that cloud is today. See where it streamed across. Now Tonga is just on the edge here, just up from New Zealand, just right on the edge of the map, and primarily it went west. And so this is a week later, and it's still holding its shape pretty well. Takes a long time. Sulfur dioxide is really heavy, and then mixed in with the ash too. Takes a long time for it to dissipate. Here's the 500 HPA reading. It's still at high levels, still quite thick. See, halfway up in the atmosphere. And then we've got a spot down here just off the coast of South America. Now this is, I'm thinking this is part of what was left over from Tonga. It had, a little of it went to the east, and some of it, the majority of it went to the west. Here's the ozone layer over the Antarctic today, and we can see it's quite thin, and we've got 1, 2, 3 layers of thinness that's below the 300 Dobson units. The solid yellow here is at 300 Dobson units, and then these go below, down from that. And the sun is still up, and so it's still in high melt down there. You see the break coming up into the Pacific, the Atlantic, Pacific, sorry. Here's the Arctic view of the ozone. Now we've got it heavy here over China and coming over to Alaska, and then some heavy spots here in Canada, and then coming over to Russia there. But we do have a thinning here over Noaa Methane and the Kara Sea. This is from the high readings of methane. Methane will eat up the ozone along with sulfur dioxide. Will eat up the ozone. Here's the global view of the ozone today. Now see the break here coming up, and then another break coming up. Here's Australia. Let's see, Tonga's right up here. And we've got Aqua here. This is around the equator here in the West Pacific, and a little bit of Aqua showing up here on the east side of the Pacific. Then the greens. That's all below. That's all below what's healthy. Alright, there's that. Now, we'll tour through Climate Reanalyzer. Here are the maximum temperatures for today around the globe. Now, Australia cooled down it's still hot on this western side where you see the white. That's going up close to 100 degrees or even higher. And here in South America, same thing. Africa, you've got some white. But the rest of Australia has cooled down from the white, and now it's in this reddish, like 35°C. So that's still hot. And it's their summertime, remember. Here's 2-meter temperature anomaly. And see the red up here. Now this is Svalbard, so this is going into the pinkish color. That's about 20 to 22 to 24 C higher than normal in the pinkish, and then red and brown. So here's Svalbard and Franz Josef Land. So that's heating up. Also here on this North Siberia coastline next to the Laptev Sea. See, all that area is in the red. Greenland has some blue and purple, so that's colder than normal. And see the blue and then the red and brown right next to it. This is where the jet stream is broken and the cold air is swooping down all the way through Canada and into down to the Gulf of Mexico. Then we've got red just to the west of that. We're red and brown. And same thing here on the eastern side. We've got brown right next to the blues. Again, it's from the broken jet stream. And then in the Antarctic, see, we've got reds and browns, and it's over the interior, and that's where we saw the thin ozone layer. Worldwide, we're up 0.4 C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.5 C. Southern hemisphere is up 0.2 C. Arctic is up 2.2 C. The Antarctic is up 1.9 C. And the tropics are up 0.2 C. So because of this pink and then the red over here in Siberia, that shot that Arctic right up there. 2.2 C higher than normal. Here's precipitation and clouds for today. And the green is rain, the blue is snow. We can see that in this North Atlantic that's got snow coming up and then rain on the bottom edge, and rain coming up to Norway there. And here's the next system moving out. And see the pink down here in the Weddell Sea, that's freezing rain. Then there's some snow coming up to the western peninsula. And see, we've got rain just coming right up to the Weddell Sea. So there's sea ice right down there. So that'll take care of sea ice in short order. Here's the jet clumps, pieces, screams, like Larry says. The jet screams. Look at this in the Antarctic. They've got a high pressure set up. See, that's on the west side. And anyway, this is the Weddell Sea here. So that's right on land. there. And there's no stream here. See, we've got a main piece now that's kind of a straightish line just above the equator that goes around the globe, and then it breaks up and goes up and loops around. And then in the southern hemisphere, it's all broken up too. Here's sea ice and snow cover. Well, now I've got that in my slideshow, so we'll look at that more closely in a second. This is sea surface temperature anomaly. The latest data they have is from Thursday the 20th. Now we still have browns up here in the Barents Sea, and in the North Atlantic we've got some reddish here just north of Iceland, and brown around Greenland, reds still, and pinks off the coast of North America. The Gulf of Mexico is still brown and moving into the red, so that's warm water down there. You can see the reds around Japan and then moving out across the Pacific up there. Worldwide, we're up 0.3 C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.5 C. The North Atlantic is up 0.8 C. The North Pacific is up 0.4 C. The southern hemisphere is up 0.2 C. And the equatorial Pacific is down 0.2 C. So that's all of those. Now let's go through, I'll close that out, go through our sea ice now. I have my slideshow prepared. These are images from Climate Reanalyzer. Now somehow I missed getting the image from yesterday, but I've got all of them except for that. Now since I didn't report on sea ice last week for you guys, we're going to show 2 weeks here. So here we are today. And so just starting here at Greenland, see it's the fringe is coming down to the tippy point of Greenland, and it's trying to come back on this western side in the Baffin Bay, and it's still open on these 2 sides of Svalbard, on the bottom and on the left hand side, and here this extent is trying to come back out, but there's there are pockets of where the water is warmer, which we just saw on Climate Reanalyzer. We've got some browns, meaning warmer than normal, and so where you've got browns, it's just not going to refreeze. And here's Noaa Methane. We can see it's come back on this western side as well. All of this is filled in with ice. Now, when we look at NASA Worldview with the nighttime layer, you'll see where there are holes and cracks and things like that. We do have an area here that coming up between Svalbard and Franz Josef Land that is melting. You'll see that on NASA Worldview. And this is ice all the way from Russia all the way over to Canada and Alaska. And then here in the Bering Sea, this moves out into the Pacific. We've got a fringe of ice there, and here in the Okhotsk Sea. So let's go through our slideshow. So here it was from the 9th. This was the last time I showed you guys sea ice here on YouTube. So we'll just go through these. Here's the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, and then today the 23rd. So, you know, it's not a dramatic difference, because I think we're almost at our maximum for the sea ice for this season. Not there yet. Alright, now we'll go over the Navy models. This is the Arctic sea ice thickness from today. Here's our color ledger over on the right. The light lavender is about 1/2 meter thick. The dark purple is about 1 meter thick. The dark aqua is about 1.5 meters thick. The blue is about 1.25 meters thick. The bright aqua is about 2 meters thick, maybe a little more. The green is about 3 meters thick. Yellow is about 3.75 meters thick. The bright red is about 4.5, and then the dark red is about 5. Now, I don't know if we'll see any of the dark red. We'll see a little sliver of the red just right down here at the coast of Canada and here at the coast of Greenland. So as we zoom in, now there is a hole here in the North Baffin Bay off this northwest coast of Greenland. Now the nearest strait, now this part, see the aqua, that's refrozen pretty good, but the rest of it going up to the Lincoln Sea is still has a lot of open water. Now you see the white here, that's no ice. So this is a warm spot for whatever reason. Here's the Baffin Bay. We can see little fringe of ice trying to come back there. And here it is on the east side of Greenland, coming up. And here's Svalbard. And here's the fringe coming out in the Barents Sea. Here's a big hole here at Franz Josef Land. Now here's Novaya Zemlya. This is the Kara Sea. You see these white areas around the Russia coastline. The ice pulled away this week. I'm not sure why. It could be volcanoes going off underneath the water. There's a huge ridge of volcanoes that comes all the way across from Siberia all the way across to Canada. It's called the Gackel Ridge. We do have a tectonic tectonic plate line that runs right through this Laptev Sea, and then kind of curves and comes down down here and through Iceland and then down through the Atlantic. So anyway, we've got quite a bit of open water where there's no ice there around those coastlines for whatever reason. And then down here in quadrant 1 we've got whole combo plate of the purple to blue, and then we've got dark aqua coming in, showing that it's thickening up. And then in quadrant 2 we've got North Pole is right here in the center. We've got a little bit of aqua, mainly purples, here in quadrant 3, just above Greenland. Mainly aqua with a little fringe of red and green and yellow on the coastline there. Then in quadrant 4, it's almost all in the aqua now. And see the bright aqua, and then here next to this Canadian archipelago, this little island here, we've got fringe of red and yellow and then the green coming out. The Beaufort Sea is thickening up into aqua, so about 2 to 2.5 meters thick there. Here in the Bering Strait we can see at the narrowest point that's all aqua now. And here's the Bering Sea out into the Pacific Ocean. This is quite thin and lots of open water between those pieces of ice. And then in the Okhotsk Sea, or Sea of Okhotsk, this is Russia, just off the coastline. Quite thin, and then a little bit of aqua around parts of the coast there. Here's the 30-day animation. This was updated to yesterday, so the data goes back 3 weeks, and the forecast period goes out to next Saturday. So let's zoom in and see what the model is showing us. Now let's watch up here at the top first, and see it started pulling away. I don't know, ice drift, I don't know, but it's like all of the ice goes through this big movement here. Here, I'll stop it. Here we are at the end, into the forecast period. So it shows it pulling away even more here around the Siberia coastline and around Severnaya Zemlya, and of course Komsomolets is the island at the bottom here, Severnaya Zemlya. It's also pulled away from Novaya Zemlya at the southeast edge. I don't know why. I'm just you know, giving you my observations. Now see, it had been up to the coastlines pretty good. Okay, so this is, there we are. This is almost back to the beginning. So what day was this? January 4th. So on January 4th, this is what the sea ice looked like around this Russia coastline and this Severna Zemlya. So let's watch. Here it starts. See the little white areas starting to show up. That starts on the 6th. So let's click through. Look at that. So the ice is moving down here. It's moving, kind of scooting away from quadrant 2. So let's go on here. See open water there. So this is by the 12th. See, it's pulling away in a major way. See how it's all it's like it's all moving, shifting towards the bottom. See, look at that. And here we are at the end. So it's definitely a shift. And here around the coastlines of New Siberian Islands and this other little island, see, that's why, see, it's just pulled away from those coastlines. And see here at Noaa Zemlya, it had been up to the coastline, but it's pulled away. Now, since it's thicker and more concentrated down here at the bottom part, the Canada-Greenland side, we don't see it pulling away. It's just still there. So I see it mostly affected up here in the Laptev Sea and around all those coastlines, and then here Noaa Zemlya and the Kara Sea. So there's that. Oh, we didn't watch. I was so intrigued with all of that. Let's go. Now we'll watch the bottom part, quadrants 3 and 4. Now it looks like a shift happens. See, it kind of, where it had been rounded, it kind of flattens out. It spreads out. And so I think the ice shifts down here too. And more of a moving down and then to the right there, or to the east. So let's stop it at the end. Here we go. So this is the 18th. I want to go back to the 12th, which would be this one here. Here we are on the 12th. That's when we really started noticing this opening up around Russia. So let's watch, see what happens. You can see it moving, kind of compressing down here. And here, see how it's flattening out instead of being rounded. Thinking it's from the ice being pushed down, pushed away from the Russia coastline. And there we are. So here's a week from Saturday. So we got aquas here in the tributaries, then some purples. So that's what we've got there. Here's the Beaufort Sea ice thickness model. This was updated to yesterday, the 22nd. Here's the red, and we have just a little thin sliver of a darker red, about 4.75 meters thick there. See the reddish orange, and then that moves into yellow and green. So just this little fringe of an area is getting really any thicker ice above the 2.5 meters. So here's the Beaufort Sea, and so we're still seeing blues here. That's about 1.25 meters thick, and into even purples. This is about 1 meter thick down here. This is the Chukchi Sea there. So let's run this model. Again, this was updated to yesterday, so the forecast goes out to next Saturday. Just gradual thickening down here. And then our reds coming in. So just a little bit of thickening going on there. Now we'll hop to the Antarctic. This is again sea ice thickness from today. So a lot of areas it's melted all the way up to the coastline, see, along this northern edge, and just very narrow band of ice around some of these areas. The Ross Sea is open. And up here, this is in the Weddell Sea. The Brunt ice shelf is right up here, And so this is melted around that. So this is another hot spot. I'm thinking from an underwater volcano. So this is the 30-day animation updated to yesterday. So again, the forecast goes out to next Saturday. So let's watch, see how much more is they're showing is going to melt. It's still in high melt, as you can see. Now, generally, most of the ice melts around the Antarctic during their summertime because it's around the continent instead of the landmass being around the water in the like it is in the Arctic. Then it has to refreeze during their winter time. So watch this thin out here in the Weddell Sea, and it's just down to wispies and a lot of it. And this is the thicker ice. See the aqua? It's just hanging on. So there's that. Now, this is from National Snow and Ice Data Center. This is as of yesterday, the 22nd. This is sea ice concentration in the Arctic, and you see the blues. See this darker blue shade come up between Svalbard and Franz Josef Land. This is melting. Now this had been more solid, more concentrated, but this is melting. Could be part of that shift, that whatever's making the ice shift away from that Russia coastline could have jostled up the ice down here. It's not that thick anyway. Now here's the chart for sea ice extent. This dotted line was 2012 to 2013 winter. The blue line is this year. We can see we're right at just matching up with the 2012-2013 line. And 2012 was the lowest. And of extent, and then I mean during the melt season, and then here's where it was refreezing, and so we're even with 2012 right now, 2012-2013. But remember, the ice was much thicker back then, a lot thicker. There was just more ice volume-wise to deal with, so this is not anything to celebrate, really. Alright, here's the Antarctic sea ice concentration, and again this matches up with what we saw in the Navy model. See, this Ross Sea is open all the way out to the Pacific, and the golden line is the median, so it's see, it's really low here at the southern end. Here's the Weddell Sea, and you see all the blues. That's where it's melting down. Here's the chart for sea ice extent. The blue line is this year. This greenish line is last year. We're still below last year, and we're below the gray line. Now it should be bottoming out around the first part of February, where it'll reach its minimum. That's all of those. Now we'll move on. Let's see, I'm going to close that. Let's see. Now we'll go through NASA Worldview. I'll refresh this. We can get the latest. Starting in the Arctic. Here's sea ice concentration layer. And I'll turn on the blue marble layer. And it's a little easier to see the sea ice this way. Now this is today. So, let's see, here's Svalbard. Here's Franz Josef Land. See the black? There's the hole. And see these colors? That's where it's melting. So we'll go through this. Let's see. Let's go back to the 9th, which would have been 2 weeks ago when I showed it. So see how solid it was here around Franz Josef Land. So let's go through this. So here we go. Here's the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. See it's starting. See the concentration. It's colors starting to come in there. 14th, 15th. Look at that. 16th. Now see it's opening up around Severnaya Zemlya there. And the hole is forming here at Franz Josef Land. And see the melting here. See the colors coming in. Coming up from Svalbard. Here's the 17th. 18th. Now we're see the reds coming in around the Siberia coastline. That's where the ice is coming away. 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, and here we are today. So see, that's a big jump between yesterday and today. See, big jump right here. A lot of melting going on there at Franz Josef Land. Now, I'll turn off the blue marble layer. We'll turn on the nighttime layer. Here we go. And turn off the sea ice layer. Now, sometimes this, depending on the tilt and how much sun it's getting around the edges, sometimes this model just, this layer just doesn't, you can't see that much, but sometimes you can. So there are parts here that we're able to see pretty good. Other parts is see, like all this reflection at Greenland. Now the sun is coming up, and so I'm thinking these lights around the edges, that's from reflection on the model where the sun is starting to come up. So we'll start here at Greenland, up here at the north end of the Baffin Bay. See, this is open water. Now here's the sea ice here. So this is what we saw as white on the Navy model. And then this, see the where the ice is frozen here, that was in the aqua zone on the Navy model. And we're looking through a cloud, but you can see open water between the ice. See the dark, wherever it's really dark, that's open water. And then, see, it gets too dark to really see what's going on up here. Now let's come over. Let's see, gotta get my bearings. Okay, here's Noaa Methane. Let's turn the sea ice back on. Alright, I want to go, here's Svalbard, see, and then here's Franz Josef Land, so I want to zoom in on that area if we can. So the hole is right in here. See the black and then the purple, that's like not much ice. It's right in here. See, right in here. Here. And quite thin there. Let's go back. Let's see if it... Here's a better view yesterday. Let's see. Let's go back to today. Now, see the difference? See the difference a day makes? Now the model is much clearer yesterday. See all the cracks? There's the ice. Now here's Noaa Methane. And see the coastlines there. It's quite thin. Let's find Severnaya Zemlya. I don't know what these white things are. I think it's reflections in the clouds. I'm not sure. If anyone has any ideas, let me know. If we see the long lines like that and cloudy, I'm thinking it could be reflections in the clouds. Alright, so here's Komsomolets and see the open water. See where it's pulled away. Here we go. See? Now here's the Laptev Sea. And here's the coastline, see? You can see where the ice is just pulled away. You can see the shape of the coastline in the ice there, where it just pulled away. See there? Here around there, look. Here we go. See, all around the coastline. So let's go back. Now the 12th was when all this started. Here it was on the 12th. See? See on the 13th, see the big crack that shows up. And then it starts kind of breaking up. Here's the 14th. See all these cracks. So something happened on the 12th, I think. See it's breaking up, starting to pull away. Look how it's all cracked up here in the Laptev Sea. See, look at all the leads that have opened up. Here's the 15th. Now we are looking through clouds, so it's hard to really make out some of this. Here's the 16th. Here we go. Look at all of this open water. See? See the leads? The 17th. Same thing. You can see the impression of the coastline where it's pulled away. Look at this. Look at all of that open water. Here's the 18th. Same thing. You can see it moving. 19th. See, open. That's open. 20th. 21st. 22nd. And then here we are today, the 23rd. Hard to make anything out that much. Let's go back to yesterday. So where all these little pipe pieces come together, that's the North Pole right there. See, now the model is starting to get weird, starting to look like a kaleidoscope. So we might not get much more good nighttime viewing up here. I don't know. We'll just play it by ear. Now we'll turn off that nighttime layer. Now we'll go down to the Antarctic. So here we are. This is today. We'll start down here. Here's the Ross Sea. We've got a cloud. There's no ice down here though. See, it is open. That ice has melted. Here's Ross Island. There's Mount Erebus. See the melting up here. This is the Ross Ice Shelf. Now we've got I noticed this a few days ago. Let's see. We've got a crack opening up here, right on the edge of the ice shelf. Watch. Actually, it was bigger. Okay. Now if we go back here on the 28th of December, it's hard because it's so cloudy, but right here, see, that's solid there, and then see, it's solid here on the 29th, but here's, see the black line, this is where the edge of the ice shelf, and then it's got a little lip on that it just extends. And here's the 30th. This is a good picture, but there's a crack. You see this coming down. So this, I haven't noticed this before. Now these are clouds, and look at the hole. Look at the hole. Watch how it opens up from the 30th. Look at this. There's a hole that opens up right there on the 31st. And then look at January 1st. See, that's a definite opening there. And here's the 2nd. It's under the clouds. 3rd, 4th. Look at these clouds. 5th. 6th. I'll just click through. See? It's getting bigger, isn't it? Here's the 11th. 12th. 13th. Now look. How did it refreeze like that? From the 13th to the 15th. See the hole there? And here's the 15th. That's weird. 16th. And now you can see through the clouds the hole is opened up even further to the east. That was on the 20th. Now here we are on the 22nd. See, it's growing. So here's the 23rd today. So that's so weird to see that big hole just opening up there. And we're not really seeing pieces that have come off. So it's just kind of bizarre. So that's melting, definitely. And then coming around, this is open. We've just got a cloud there. See, it's melted right up to the coastline. Now, look at these clouds. Now, moving around, this is the Thwaites Glacier is here. Pine Island Glacier is here. This is broken off just this week. Here's the best picture on the 22nd. Now, remember last time I showed this, the tongue was pretty solid all the way down. You remember that? If we go back, I don't know if the 9th was a good viewing day. No. Let's go to the, here we are on the 11th. Now, we had been see the cracks opening up here. So this is the Thwaites Glacier up here. This is the ice tongue. And see, at that point, this was still all connected, kind of all one piece. But it's starting to break up. Watch. So we'll just go through this from the 11th. And here's the crack. See, here's one of the cracks here on the 12th. It's quite visible. This is still one solid piece down here, though. Okay, here we go. There's the 13th. There's a cloud. 14th. 15th. This is so cloudy. Now look, by the 17th, see, it's broken up. So it happened under the cloud. Look at this. And more clouds on the 18th. Here's the 19th, 20th. So here we are on the 20th, and you can see this is just all breaking up. See? So it's breaking up all the way up to here. It's the 21st. That's a really good picture. That's the best one yet. Best picture. Now here's a big piece, but see the tongue below it. That's all broken up. And then above. And see the cracks forming going up there. And here's more of it breaking up on the 22nd. Here we are today with a cloud over it. So that's pretty major that's happened. Then up here on the Pine Island Glacier, we can see the hole opening up here. There's a hole opening up over on the west side. This line across is where it calved off a couple of years ago, and this is where the ice refroze, just south of there. Now, here's a good view from yesterday. Here's the line where it had calved off. This is the ice flow. You can see the lines in it. And this is just a little ice area that refroze. It's not very thick. So I don't know if this is going to break off all the way this season or not. We'll have to keep an eye on that. So these are areas that are in very high melt. Now, coming on around, here's the Western Peninsula. This is the Weddell Sea. So this is the area with the thicker sea ice, what's left of it. So we're under clouds here. Now I wanted to show, here's the A76 Iceberg. This is what broke off down here on this ice shelf at the beginning of their winter. And then it's moved up. So it's trying to make its way out. Let's see. Here's a pretty good image of it. See? It's still mostly intact. And so this whole area on this Western Peninsula where these Larsen ice shelves are, this is where we see methane coming up on cams. So let's go back. That's a good view. It's shocking when you see clouds and then it's open for a little while, where you can really see the condition of the ice. Now here's where it's opened up on this east side of the Weddell Sea. Here's the Brunt Ice Shelf, and this whole area, this whole side going up, this is where we're seeing methane come up as well. So let's go back. See, lots of clouds. Now here, see the open water. This was on the 20th. Here's the 21st. Here we are today. And then up on the north end, you see it's melted all the way up to the coastline. Up on this north side, we're seeing methane come up as well. Also here on this, along this Anomaly ice shelf, now see the blue? And you can see the flow of the ice. This is here's a cloud over this east end. Here we go. This is a pretty good view. This was from the 20th. Let's see. This ice out here had been up next to the ice shelf. So that's pulled away and melting. Back to today, and down here I've been following this Totten Glacier, and this tongue, the crack, see, it's slowly still cracking, and pieces are coming off here on this west side. And remember, I showed the ice over here. Let's go back. Here's the 9th. I think it was solid there. Let's see. Yeah. Here's the 10th. See, it's still solid. Now watch as we go forward. It's going to start cracking up. Here, it started here on the 12th. So, same time as the ice was pulling away from the Russia coastline and the Arctic Sea, we can see something happened. Here it was the 12th, and it's big major shift. Watch. Here's the 13th. See the line coming up. See the pieces forming there. And see, by the 15th, see all these cracks opening up. Here's the 16th. So it's really coming apart there. 17th, see it's pulling away. 18th. 19th. See? 20th. 21st. 22nd. And here we are today. So that's really coming apart. Now, so that's all of that. Now let's look at some earthquakes. Right now there are 163 worldwide on USGS. We've got some movement. Well, this one is still going off in Tonga. This is the main island down here Tonga. And see, we've got a couple of earthquakes just northwest of there, 4.6 and 4.8, and the volcano was further. It's right up here. See the little pieces? Oops. Right there. It came up right here. See the little pieces in between? Those are the islands where it blew right in there. Okay, you can see the cone here. So that's the crater. See, that's right in the crater. Yeah. Over here, we've got some movement going on the Fuca plate. See, right at the base at 3.2, and then 2 more on the fulcrum point. Anyway, it's just still more of the same, more of the usual places. All the way up that San Andreas fault line, and then up this Walker Lane fault line that's forming. Now, we've got some lower numbers here in Alaska. 32, that's showing me that pressure's building. That's a low number. So, when you see low numbers in Alaska, 20, 30, you know, under about 40, you know that pressure's building. So, anyway, we can look at 7 days all magnitudes. So, for the last week, there have been 1,924. There was one here at the tippy point of Greenland on the 18th of 4.6. Here's all this activity down in the Tonga area. Let's see, in the last week. Let's see. $50 down here, and so on. We had a 6.0 at Sarangani, Philippines. That was on the 21st. There was also a 6.3 near Saiki, Japan. Uh-oh, I'm lost. Right down here, next to this little southern piece of the island. Was in the water. Now, if that had been on land, it would have been much worse. I don't know if there was damage done. There was also up here, see this big one in the Aleutian Islands, 6.2 at Unalaska. Also up here in the Cook Inlet at 5.1, Nunilchik, Alaska. And oh, right, see the movement around this Cocos plate. Now right in here in this Gulf of California, this is the Imperial Fault Line. It connects up with the San Andreas. 5.3 and 4.4, both on the 21st. Here was a 5.0, San Mateo del Mar, Mexico. Oh, Haiti had another one up here on this northwest edge of 4.3 near Anse Rouge, or however you say that. And you can see them coming down through South America. Look at all of this. The middle of the Atlantic between South America and Africa. We had 2 there, 5.1. Look at all this movement next to this Antarctic plate. All from South Sandwich Islands up underneath Africa, and then also going, well, it's all around this Antarctic plate. And here, this was just south of Australia, 5.1, and then here 5.4 Pacific Atlantic Ridge, and then 5.1 West Chile Rise. So lots of plate movement, lots and lots of plate movement. So that's my report for tonight, and I will finish the report by bringing our attention back to the spiritual realm, reading out of the Bible. I'm reading out of Genesis. Genesis chapter 7. Now this is in chapter 6. Right at the end of chapter 6, God told Noah about the water coming in to build an ark. And he built the ark. Genesis chapter 7. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife, and his sons' wives with him into the ark, because of the waters of the flood. Of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth, there went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And in the selfsame day entered Noah, and Shem, and Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons were with them into the ark, they and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in, male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth, and the waters prevailed, and were increased greatly upon the earth. And the ark went upon the face of the waters, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle, and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven. And they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Genesis chapter 7. So we'll read as we go further into the Old Testament how God protected his people, and even in times of trouble and captivity, he kept his people safe. Even when they wandered in the desert for 40 years, he provided for them. And we need to remember that he'll provide for us too if we're his. So if you give your life to Jesus Christ and come to God, just believe and repent. Ask for him, Jesus, to come into your life and to guide you and to protect you. You'll be provided for. Even in the darkest days, God will provide and protect his own. Dark days are here, and they're going to get darker. So if you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, I highly recommend it. Then you will have everlasting life in heaven. So until next time, I'm praying for you. I love you all. God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.